Hello everyone, and welcome to another wavelength series. My name is 𝐬𝐻𝐻. I am your leadership mindset coach. I help leaders develop self-leadership, work on their emotional mastery, and develop influence. No. Are you ready to get on the same wavelength? Fabulous, fabulous. I am pretending that I'm hearing the yay, we're ready to get on the same wavelength. Anyway, so I want to share a quick story with you before I get into what I want to share, because it really forms the foundation of today's episode. I checked in with a friend recently, and someone I've been coaching actually, and they have been going through a very stressful period, and I recommended that they incorporate this breathing technique that I asked them to in their routine. And so I'm checking in, and I said, hey, what's going on? How's it going? How's the technique working? So forth and so on. And they said that, you know, the technique helped a little, but they haven't mastered it. And so I said, why do you feel that you have to master it? It has only been a couple of weeks. Why do you feel that you needed to master it? You just said that it helped a little, and I suggested that they look at it through the lens of helping a little is a win, right? That in itself is a win. I was like, that's a win right there, right? And so they came back and they said, you know, you're right, it is a win, it worked, it's just, they're not perfect. And so I started thinking, the conversation went on, obviously, until we were finished, and I started thinking about how when we are going through periods of life, right, the distresses of life, or periods of personal growth, how we tend to view things in a particular way, or be so hard on ourselves, or think that we need to master everything. And so this is really why I'm having this conversation, because I understood where he was coming from, because I've been in those types of situations. I think when I look throughout the course of my life, I've been very hard on myself. And so today I wanted to share with you, I think it's 6. I think it's 6 things that you may want to consider. Let's call them 6 reframes that you may want to consider, especially if you're going through a rough period, or let's say a period of personal growth. Let's reframe it that way, a period of personal growth. And so the first thing I want to share with you is that you don't have to be perfect. You only need to be consistent. I'll repeat. You don't have to be perfect. You only need to be consistent. And this is a myth. This is a huge lie, a myth. I can't even call it a myth. It's a huge lie. It's a trick of the devil. For those of you who used to go to church, it's a trick of, I do go to church. It's a trick of the enemy, as the pastor used to say when I used to go to church, because we look and we think that we need to be perfect. There is no perfect person. There is no perfect person. You only need to work on your consistency. And that is something that I would love everybody to know. we have this tendency, and maybe it's society and maybe it's how we have grown up, that we think that things need to be perfect. Perfect does not exist, right? What we often see as perfect is people putting in, just people refusing to give up and keep going at it again and again, and so it's consistent, right? Consistency is where it's at. So if you're someone, and I know I used to be that way, if you're someone who's thinking that I need to be perfect, take that pressure off yourself. Take that pressure off yourself. All you need to do is to be consistent. That's all you need. I can't stress this enough. I feel so passionate about it, because we put these limits and these rules. We have these rules, and perfection is one. We have these rules that are consciously and sometimes subconsciously, they form a part of our reality, of our lives, and we don't realize that it doesn't need to be that way. So if you need, this is your permission, just show up. Just be consistent. Focus on being consistent. And I feel like this is one of the ways that people trip themselves up. That people who want to accomplish a goal, especially, let's use dieting. People want to accomplish a goal such as dieting, they give up because they think they need to be perfect. I have, and I'll probably share it. I think I have it on YouTube. I'll probably share it. I'll link it down below. I have a reel where I spoke about how I got to the point where I don't eat meat. And it wasn't because I was perfect. There were days that I forgot the journey that I was on, and I had fried chicken, which was my favorite, right? And so you don't have to be perfect. You just need to be consistent. Number 2 tip I want to share with you is, if you've never done something before, or if you've never experienced something before, how can you expect to know what to do? How can you, right? If you've never done something before, and if you've never experienced something before, how are you expecting yourself to know what to do? And this one was huge. This was a huge one for me that just really shifted my mind, because I didn't realize that I was putting, again, an invisible rule on my life. And this came about for me. This was a shift for me, where I was in a class and I was taking an emotional intelligence class, and we had to talk about a difficult situation at work. We had to talk about someone. It was really about the relationship. So we had to talk about someone who share an experience where we had this difficult relationship. And I spoke about this coworker that I had this difficult relationship with, and I said something along the lines like I was beating up on myself, and there was someone in my group who actually was a coach, and she said to me, well, if this is a new situation and you've never gone through this before, how are you expecting yourself to know what to do? Like, this is new. You're in uncharted territory. And I was like, you're right. I don't know what to do. How would I know, right? And I hope this liberates. Know that I'm saying it when I'm saying it. I hope this liberates someone, because especially if you are a high performer, there's a tendency to believe subconsciously or consciously that you must know everything, that you're supposed to be able to do this or do that. How can you know if you've never experienced it? And so I really want you to think about that, and I want you to give yourself ease. And this mindset shift has helped me so much after that period, where whenever I was going through a difficult situation, I'm like, I'm learning, I'm in the throes of it. I don't know what I don't know, and I'm not expected to know. This is new. This is a new experience, right? And it doesn't mean that it gives you permission to be blasé or take your foot off the brakes or don't have any accountability. It's not about not having accountability. It's for those of you who put this ridiculous pressure, this unreasonable, that's a better word, this unreasonable pressure on yourself, and you've never been through the situation before. So that's number 2. Number 3 is, this is number 3. Number 3 is your limiting beliefs. They limit you. They cost you. They cost you so much. And I recently, by the time you're looking at this video, my newsletter would have gone out, and I talk about what your beliefs cost you. And people talk about limiting beliefs and believing in yourself, but I don't think that we've actually sat down to think about how much they cost us. So they cost you your life in general, and I'll show you how. Because you have a particular belief about something that limits you, if you think you can't do something, or you think you can't have something, or you think that you're not deserving of a thing, it's going to affect how you make decisions. Because here's the truth of it. We make our decisions based on who we think we are and what we deserve and what we believe. Right? That's how you're gonna make a decision. That's how you make a decision. You don't make decisions if you can't make a decision about if you have a cap on what you believe. If I don't believe that I am deserving, and if I don't believe in myself as a coach, or I don't believe I can have a new car, for example, I'm not gonna go out and start looking at cars. I'm not even going to have the desire to have a car, right? So think about it. I know it's a very simple example, but think about it through that lens. If you are someone who wants to expand in your role and you want to grow, and so you want to grow, but you don't believe that you can have a promotion, or that somebody is holding you back, it's going to affect every decision that you make. You're not going to apply for the job. Even if somebody pushes you to apply for the job, you're not going to put in your all into the interview, because you would have already thought they're not going to give me anyway. So you're not going to put in the effort. And I hope I am, I'm driving home the point, right? And so your beliefs, your limiting beliefs cost you. So it's the decisions you make. It's the opportunity. They limit the opportunities that the opportunities that you have. They limit the options. Those that you see and those that you don't see, right? They limit you in terms of what you think you deserve. Okay? And even down to what you eat, what you wear, what you listen to, because if you are operating under a particular limiting belief, it ties into your identity. And this is why I talk about identity so much, because you can have all the skills as a leader. You can go to 1,000,000 classes. You can have all the degrees on a thermometer. But if you don't, if your identity is not in sync with where you're going, it's not going to work. This wasn't a point, but it should have been a point. Anyway, so your limiting belief, they cost you your life. Think about it. Think about what you believe right now and how it may be costing you. All right, so this is, I've lost count. Whatever number this is, let me see, 1, 2, 3. So this is 4. So going back to what my client said, he said that it helped a little, but he hasn't mastered it. And I thought about mastery, right? When you master something, mastery is really about commitment. It's about committing yourself to a particular thing. I have made the decision to be a master coach, right? And so I have committed my life, my attention, my focus. I know this is what I want, and so that means I'm going to be reading, I'm going to be immersed in the work that helps me to be a master. It doesn't mean that I'm not going to fail. It doesn't mean that I'm not going to have rough days. What it means is that I will make what I'm doing effortless. So mastery is not about perfection. Mastery is about making it look effortless. Mastery is also about your commitment to that thing. And so we use that word a lot, but I just want to throw it in there about mastery. You know, the funny thing is the people who we see that we think are perfect or that have mastered something, we don't see the thousands and thousands of hours that they have spent on that craft, right? Excuse me, water break. We don't see that. When I look at, and you can go, you're on my YouTube channel, look at, go as far back as you can to when I started my YouTube channel. You're going to see me outside on the Frigate Bay lawn. That's where I was. Not on the Frigate Bay lawn, somewhere in Frigate Bay. I used to wake up early every Saturday morning at around 6, get myself prepped, put my People brand chair in my Jeep, drive down, set up my phone. I didn't have my camera at the time, set up my phone. I didn't have a mic, and so in many of those videos you hear all this wind coming in. In one of the videos somebody was passing, didn't realize I was filming and saying hello. When I look at those videos then and compared to now, and if you look at them, you would realize that again, the background has gotten better. Even though I do love outside, the background has gotten better, but not so much the background. The flow of the information, the communication, the way I speak, the way I present has gotten so much better, right? And of course, there's always room for improvement. That didn't happen overnight. That happened because I decided I'm a master. I'm going to be committed. I'm going to be committed to the craft. And so I just want you to, I want to leave that with you. This is number 4, number 5. Number 5. And this is a huge one. This is huge, huge, huge. And it is something that I realized, and it just shifted everything for me. I stumbled and realized upon it recently, and it is this: you can't outperform your nervous system. I'll repeat that. You cannot outperform your nervous system. Now, our nervous system is designed to keep us safe. So you can have all the skills. I mentioned this before. You can have all the skills, and especially as a leader, and you would realize that you've gone to this class and that class and this communication class, and you've signed up for a Udemy $20 course on how to have a difficult conversation, or how to deal with conflict, and you probably went down to the community college and you followed this person on YouTube and all of that, right? So you acquire all the skills, but if your nervous system isn't regulated, it's not going to work. You'll not achieve consistent success because you cannot outperform your nervous system. And it's the feeling of you are fighting with yourself. Like logically, you know that you should do this thing. Logically, you know you should have this conversation. Logically, you know that you shouldn't be in that relationship. I'm not a relationship coach, but hey, I don't know where that popped up. Your nervous system is designed to keep, your body is designed to keep you safe. And so what happens is when something seems new and unfamiliar, your nervous system is going to go, hey, wait a minute, what are we doing here? What are we doing? No. And you have this constant tug of war. And so the key is to regulate your nervous system. And this is what I was sharing. This is what I was sharing with my friend. Why I was sharing with my friend the breathing technique, because we are working on regulating the nervous system, right? We're regulating the nervous system because you can train your body. You are in charge of you. That's the thing. You are in charge of you. And one of the reasons why I love coaching is this. The coach is just a guide. I know I might be all over the place, but bear with me. I'm so passionate about this, as you can probably tell. The coach is just your guide. I am just your guide, right? But you have all the answers that you need. You know the answers to the questions. You have all the resources that you need. We just need to activate them, or give you or show you the options that are available. Because many times when we are going through a situation, when our nervous system is not regulated, when we feel like we have this burden of being perfect, this perfectionism complex on us, it's like we're in a box, or we're looking down and like a horse with blinders, right? And we don't see the choices and the options that are available. And so that is what coaching does, which is why I absolutely love it, and I want to do it for the rest of my life. So anyway, I really hope, let me check my time. I really hope that, you know, these tips, they're helping you. They're helping you because, like I said, high performers, people who are into personal growth, it could be a lonely road. And we sometimes think that we're the only one who is going through a situation, or it just seems really lonely. It could be so isolating. And so I'm here to tell you, you're not alone. Stick it out. Sometimes the win is just showing up, right? Anyway, the last one that I want to share with you is, and I was thinking about this the other day, is comfort zone. So people always say, step outside your comfort zone. You need to step outside your comfort zone. Comfort zone. Listen to me. When you step outside your comfort zone, and this is what nobody tells you, your comfort zone becomes a scary place. but wait. And because you step outside your comfort zone, your nervous system, which I just spoke about, is going to try to keep you safe. It's going to try to pull you back into safety because you are in uncharted territory. You are in unfamiliar territory. You don't know what you don't know. And so your body's going to try to pull you back in safety. You're going to be overthink. You're going to have all this thing. But I want to offer you a reframe. I want to offer you a reframe that the comfort zone, all those things may be happening, but I'd love for you to think about that the comfort zone is also the place of possibility and potential. Possibilities and potential, because it is the unknown. I once heard Deepak Chopra say it like that. That not about the comfort zone, about the unknown being, you know, what's possible or what have you. But it's the same thing when you step outside your comfort zone. I had to give him that credit because, yeah. But there is possibility and potential in the unknown. So I would highly recommend you think about it from that lens, because everybody who has had success, or the people that you are seeing as successful, they had to step outside their comfort zone. I had to step outside my comfort zone. I've had to step out because, you know, my background is in HR. I know HR. I mean, even growing up in my career, and HR is one of those places that situations are going to be thrown at you. No one situation is the same, right? And so I've been outside my comfort zone many times. But even as a coach and learning and adjusting the way that I think and, you know, the techniques and all that, that's outside my comfort zone. But what about the possibility? The possibility and the potential. What happens is when we're outside of our comfort zone, we tend to focus on what's unfamiliar. We tend to focus on, you know, all those other things. Focus on what's possible, right? Because sometimes growth is staying in the process. That's really it for personal growth. Growth sometimes is staying in the process. No one ever said, and those are my 6 tips, by the way, no one ever said or promised that growth is going to be easy. Sometimes growth is lonely. I've seen things online like memes that said growth is messy, but sometimes growth is lonely because it's just you against you. It's only you going through it. And so sometimes many times the win is just showing up, just showing up, just showing up. The win sometimes is showing up. Sometimes we think that the win is, like my friend, is having to master it. We're not at that stage yet, right? But the beauty about life is that once we've gone through, or once we're, you know, we're further along in the journey, it starts getting easier. We start getting more confident. We start thinking about all the learnings. And that's what I'd like to encourage you to do if you're going through a really tough time. I'm not saying see the good in it. I'm not saying that, right? Because it could be a very difficult time for you. But I encourage you to look at these 6 reframes that I've offered, and to look at it through those lens, right? And so thank you for listening. I've come to the end of my episode. I could go on and on and talk on and on, but I've got to go to the gym, right? So remember, growth is staying in process, and sometimes the win is just showing up. Living to fight another day, living to go through and learn another day. All right, let me know if this episode has helped you. Yeah, it's time for me to stop talking. Share this out as well with someone who may be going through something that needs a word of encouragement, that needs a shift in mindset to see what's possible, what their options are. Hopefully this video does that. And if there are any topics that you would love for me to speak on when it comes to leadership, let me know. Send me a DM, send me a WhatsApp, and let me know, and I would be more than happy to put it together and put it out into the world. Until next time, bye.